other key missing piece to this whole puzzle, and it's something I know we've chatted about, and I know it's slightly off the topic of keyword research, but I feel like once you get a plan and a system in place, then the real money comes once you've generated that system, comes through to the execution and making it happen. And it all has to do with making sure that you have good team members to make sure that it does it. Like, you're not going to be able to do and build something really great if you're doing it on your own, and that's something that I admire most about what you've done here at Alliance Software. The quality of people that you've attracted into your team is, second to none. And we're keen to find out, what are some strategies that you've used to build, such a successful team?
From that hiring perspective, I'm actually a pretty lousy recruiter, personally. I tend to get sucked in by a person that is like me, and there's a thing called there's a psychological name for it, I've forgotten what it is, but where if I meet someone and I feel like I would have been mates with them in high school, I naturally want to employ them, because I think I want everyone to be like me and I want the world to be fun. And so, but what happened in our world was, years ago, like I'm talking 7 or 8 years ago, when I was just establishing the business, there's only 2 or 3 of us at that time. I found a brilliant technical lead. Like, literally, he was tossing up between Google and me as a place to work. He was just, Levi's his name, he's off the charts. And I said to Levi, mate, you have got to figure out a testing system for developers. We've got to find a way, and this is spread out of just development. But what he did is we came up with this process by which I couldn't get in a room with someone and quote unquote fall in love with them until they'd been through our systems. And so we have a sort of a 3-part process. Part number 1 is we don't ask for resumes, we send people to a page that essentially asks a summarised set of resume style questions. And what we do in that scenario is, we'll often put a job ad out on Seek or something else, and we'll get 100, 150 people come to our website and send us a resume via the automated Seek button. And I have an automated response that goes back to them and says, go and fill in the form online, we don't want your resume. It says that kind of nicely, but that's what it says. We then fill that out, and the test for me is, can they construct a sentence in English with capital letters and full stops? That's the only test to get through that first test. I'll come back and look at it later if I get an interview with them. The next test is an online programming test. And again, we've got really smart developers, so they wrote that test for us. The third test is, we have a test for programming, which really smart guys have built, and they review it regularly for us, that I wouldn't pass. And to give you an example, I did computer science. I've got an undergraduate and a master's degree in computer science. I got straight HDs. I got university award for the best student across the board. But all of that was because I knew how to play the system. Really good programmers often get lousy marks. It's just because they're more passionate about hanging out programming rather than going to class. And these guys wrote that whole deal, and there's that test in place. And so what we found is that test, you only get to the interview if you can go through those hoops. And the fact that we make people do those hoops remotely, I don't ever get to fall in love with someone who smiles really well and wears a great shirt, but actually can't program.
Yeah.
And we've actually found that you can write those tests for customer support people. And we're in the process of writing one in the marketing space for Alliance Software to see if we can run an online test for a marketer. Ask them, see what questions we can come up with. So
that, some key insight there. Just the idea as well, having someone who is an absolute champ, your star, you already had that star, and then you got them to write it, so it's almost like they can speak the language of other stars.
Exactly.
So that key, and then formalising it into a system, you guys are definitely on the right track there.
So I'm going to jump around a little bit.
Yeah, please.
But talking about in the consulting space or just in your own websites or general, again, we are known in the SEO space, and to me, there is just such an incredible opportunity for SEO if people will do the work. The world is divided into people who are willing to do the work and people who won't. If you're willing to do the work, SEO can create an asset for you that will produce income for years and years and years, and it can open up an incredible range of doors. But SEO is a traffic generation strategy, and the other thing that we'll often do for customers, I'll look in their Google Analytics account, and if you want to talk about getting quick wins for people, if I see that they've got more than 100 unique visitors a day, and sometimes you'll go in there and they've done nothing and they've got 300 unique visitors a day, and they have never run a split test on their website, talk about ways that you can do a small amount of work and increase someone's revenue. It's just off the charts. We are really disappointed if we don't make a 20% increase in sales off our first split test, and we've had split tests that off the first split test got 100%. We did one in Market Samurai World that got us a 60% increase in sales off a split test that took a month and a half to run. That pays a mortgage, you know what I mean? That pays 2 people's wages. So the other side of this equation is, if you're out there and you're saying, look, I'm doing pretty well in SEO and I'm looking for that extra tweak, no problems looking for that extra tweak, go for your life. But sometimes people focus more and more attention on driving traffic when they don't actually know that they're sending people to a lousy conversion funnel. And if you actually, put some glue around your conversion funnel and fix that up a little bit, you'd give yourself a pay rise really, really quickly.
It's almost like, I imagine, if you're driving 100 unique visitors to a website and it's currently converting at 1% and you get it to go to 2%.
Which is not that happens all the time.
What have you done? You've just doubled your bottom line.
Exactly.
And you can put a lot of effort in to try and climb up 1 or 2 spots on the search engine rankings for little result, because all you're doing is just throwing more
stuff in there. In fact, the crazy thing is, you've often in many cases done better than double your bottom line. Because let's say that's your lead generation funnel and you're sitting at 10% profitability, but you can actually handle another customer. Like you've got the capacity to service them. Often, many cases, by getting a 20%, I can show you the maths for this, a 20% increase in conversion can actually in many cases be a 100% increase in profit. 100% increase in conversion could actually be a 300% increase in profit, because your overheads are already paid.
Yeah.
The first customer you had already paid your wages, they already paid your staff, they already paid your rent. The next customer that you get is the most profitable customer you'll ever get. So, anyway.
Yeah, well, I think a couple of key takeaways there. Obviously, the hiring and building the right team and focusing on conversion is just as important. And then doing the keyword research. So we might wrap it up there. I think we covered some gold there.
We've sort of gone for a farewell. So.
Yeah, no. So cool. Thank you very much for your time.
Mate, absolute pleasure.
And I love what you guys are doing. And if you guys want to find out a little bit more about Market Samurai, you can head over to theseomethod.com/samurai. All right, guys, talk to you soon.